Will the Senate please come to order? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Aquino. Senator Awa. Senator Chang. Senator DeCoit.
Excused.
Senator Dela Cruz. Senator Elefante.
Here.
Senator Favela.
Excused.
Senator Fukunaga.
She's here.
Senator Gabbard. Senator Hashimoto. Senator Ihara. Senator Inoue.
Present.
Senator Kanuha. Senator Keoho Kalole.
Ill.
Senator Kidani. Senator Kim. Senator Lee. Senator McKelvey. Senator Moriwaki.
Present.
Senator Rhodes. Senator Richards.
Here.
Senator San Buenaventura. Senator Shimabukuro. Senator Wakai. Mr. President,
Present.
23 present, 2 excused.
Thank you. The chair has read the journal of the preceding day and approves the same. Are there any introductions this morning? Senator Kidani.
Thank you, Mr. President. Joining us today in the gallery is my staff Mary's family, her father, Asher Merle. Please stand. Thank you for joining us. Her sisters, Sherry Mae and Angelica Merle. Thank you for joining us. Aunties Anna, Elena, and Nilda Duhailongsod. Thank you for joining us. Cousin Sylvia Duhailongsod. Thank you for joining us. And Mary's partner, Kung Chan. Thank you for joining us today. Also in the gallery is my staff, my committee clerk, Lisa Barnett. Stan, thank you for joining us. Office manager, Danisha Honda, thank you for joining us. My legislative aides, Malachi Burrows and Michael Maury, who could not be with us this morning. Thank you for joining us. And welcome to the Hawaii State Senate. Senate President, on your behalf, I'm also honored to introduce constituents from your district in Kauai. This outstanding group will be participating in the Boys and Girls Club Hawaii State Youth of the Year competition today. May you please stand when your name is called. David Bremen, Joseph Abreu, Nainoa Hirokane, Jaden Reese Surkina, Coin Langley, and Tessa Kuehu. And they are joined today by Boys and Girls Clubhouse staff Jessica Herman and Bryden Kauvai. They're development assistants for Oahu and Kauai. And also with us is Director of Development Kauai, Tina Albao. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator McKelvey, according to my script.
I guess we're scripting the introductions today.
And then
Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Hashimoto.
I'm so happy to be joined by one of my constituents and their families who are here for the Boys and Girls Clubs of Maui Youth. Please stand when I call your name and remain standing. First off of all, Christopher Leslie, Maui's Youth of the Year finalist from the Lahaina Clubhouse. If you could please stand. And he is joined by his family, Felicia Moore, Christopher's mom, Cameron Leslie, his sister, and the Boys and Girls Clubs of Maui staff and mentors. If you could all please rise and be recognized, and welcome to your state senate. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Hashimoto and then Senator Awa.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to introduce some of the other Maui Youth of the Year participants from my district. We have Hi'ile Roman from the Central Clubhouse. Please stand. We have Kieran Fernandez Urarte from the Haiku Clubhouse from Senator DeCoit's district, and Shannon Milne from the Kahiki'ili Clubhouse. Welcome to your Senate. Thanks for being here.
Senator Awa, followed by Senator Moriwaki. Followed by Senator Moriwaki.
Thank you. Oh.
Mahalo Pelakikana. From District 23, finalists for Youth of the Year, Jakaila Barnes, if you can stand. And everybody else with the, mahalo for that, and everyone else with the U.S. Army Garrison Hawaii's Child Youth Services Center, the Bennett Youth Center, if you can stand as well. Welcome to the Senate.
Senator Moriwaki, followed by Senator Keoho Kalole.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to introduce Boys and Girls Club as well. From Honolulu, the Spalding Clubhouse. Amaya Sprout is president of the Leaders in Training Program at the Honolulu Spalding Clubhouse. And she is here to participate also in the Boys and Girls Club Youth of the Year. Would you stand, Amaya?
She's right.
Oh, there you are. Okay. And also with her is Danielle Trinidad, the director of the Spalding Clubhouse. Welcome to the Senate.
Senator Keoho Kalole, followed by Senator Shimabukuro.
Thank you, Mr. President. Also from the windward side, we have Te Here Pomai Kekaoha. Well, we're here to honor her as well. She's the Windward Clubhouse Youth of the Year participant. And if there are any members of the Windward Clubhouse, staff or mentors, please rise and be recognized. Welcome to the Senate.
Senator Shimabukuro, followed by Senator Wakai.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have several representatives from West Side Oahu, so please hold your applause. We have Ladena Aranas. Please stand. Nanakuli Clubhouse. Ceci Teixeira. Shada Fernandez, Shacy Fernandez, all from the Waianae Clubhouse, accompanied by staff members Crystal Jury Hale, Waianae Clubhouse Director, Tiana Wilbur, Clubhouse staff from Waianae, and Kekoa Tupua, NFL Yet Nanakuli Clubhouse. Welcome to your Senate. Thank you.
Senator Wakai.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to reintroduce to the Senate two people that we honored yesterday. And again, our finalists for the Boys and Girls Club finalists. I want to introduce to you Gianna Johnson from Halepono Clubhouse, Youth of the Year finalist. Gianna, welcome back. And Melanie McNeil, also from the Halepono Clubhouse, Youth of the Year participant. And they are where they are today because of the Halepono Clubhouse staff. I'd like to introduce them as well. Anybody from the Halepono Clubhouse staff? Yep, please. And all of us remember from yesterday, Riley Wellbaum from the Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam Teen Center, Youth of the Year finalist. He is joined by his parents as well as the Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam Team Center staff. If you could all please rise. Congratulations and welcome. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Do we have any further introductions? If not, Madam Clerk.
On pages 2 through 7, House Communication numbers 515 to 550 return Senate bills that passed third reading in the House in an amended form for agree, disagree.
Senator Wakai.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate disagree to the amendments proposed by the House to the Senate bills referenced in House Communications numbers 515 to 550.
Senator Kanuha.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any objections? Hearing none, so order. Motion is carried. Conferees will be named at a later date.
On page 7, Standing Committee Report number 3639 for one-day notice and Standing Committee Report number 3640 for 48-hour notice.
So ordered.
On pages 7 and 8, Standing Committee Report numbers 3641 to 3648 for adoption.
Senator Wakai.
Mr. President, I move for the adoption of Standing Committee Reports numbers 3641 to 3648.
Senator Kanuha.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried.
On page 9, Advise and Consent.
If there are no objections from the members, we will be taking advice and consent on consent.
Standing Committee Report numbers 3455 to 3457 on Governor's Messages for adoption.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
23 ayes.
Thank you. The nominees for said governor's messages have been confirmed.
On pages 9 to 65, adoption of resolutions. Standing Committee Report numbers 3423 to 3454, 3458 to 3473, and 3484 to 3638 on resolutions for adoption.
Senator Wakai.
Mr. President, I move for the adoption of said standing committee reports.
Senator Kanuha.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Senator Richards.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in opposition to concurrent resolution, or excuse me, report 3430, SCR 101, and SR 83.
So noted. Further discussion. Senator Awa.
Palikikana, please mark down my opposition to Senate concurrent resolutions and Senate resolutions SCR 101, SR 83, SCR 2, SR 2, SCR 151, SR 129, SCR 84, SR 70, SCR 25, SCR 93, SR 79, SCR 14, SCR 146, SR 124, SCR 94, and SR 80.
Thank you, Senator Elefante.
Thank you, Mr. President. Rise in opposition
Proceed.
to Senate Concurrent Resolution 101 and Senate Resolution 83. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion. Senator Keoho Kalole.
Thank you, Mr. President. Same request.
So ordered. Further discussion. Senator San Buenaventura.
Same request.
So ordered. Further discussion. Senator Kim.
Mr. President, also same request. Thank you.
So ordered. Senator McKelvey.
Same request.
So ordered. Further discussion. Senator Ihara.
Mr. President, could you note my reservations on SSCR 3578, which is for SCR 155, and also a no vote for SR 132, SSCR 3579, and I have remarks in opposition I'd like to submit later on this resolution.
Thank you. So ordered. Further discussion. If not, do we have unanimous consent with the exceptions of the no votes identified by the members and the reservations noted by Senator Ihara? Said resolution or said resolutions have been adopted.
Beginning on page 65, third reading.
If there are no objections from the members, we will be taking third reading on consent.
Standing Committee Report number 3413, third reading of House Bill 1836, Senate Draft 2, relating to health.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Reservations for Senator McKelvey, is that correct? No. Any no votes?
23 ayes.
Thank you. HB 1836 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report number 3414, third reading of House Bill 2390, Senate Draft 1, relating to renewable energy.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
23 ayes.
Thank you. HB 2390 SD1 passes third reading.
Third reading of House Bill 2072, Senate Draft 1, relating to campaign finance.
Is there any discussion? Senator San Buenaventura.
Thank you, Senate President. I stand in support with serious reservations.
Proceed.
My reservations are, I understand that during the Lahaina fires, there were bad actors, and shame on them. But a number of us, when asked by constituents who to support, sent them directly to nonprofits for contributions, especially to the Food Bank, Hawaii Community Foundation, Aloha United Way, Red Cross. And this is a heavy-handed approach. I understand that there may have been ethics violations by doing so, and I don't understand why, when we were doing it out of our hearts and the contributions go directly to nonprofits. But making it a felony to basically ask people to contribute to nonprofits at times of disasters, to me, seems heavy-handed and reservations.
So noted. Further discussion. Do we have unanimous consent? Reservations for Senator San Buenaventura. Any other reservations? Any no votes?
23 ayes.
Thank you. HB 2072 passes third reading.
Third reading of House Bill 1879, Senate Draft 1, relating to the Digital Voter Information Guide.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
23 ayes.
Thank you. HB 1879 SD1 passes third reading.
On page 66, third reading of House Bill 2513, Senate Draft 1, relating to expungement.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations for Senators Elefante, McKelvey, Ihara, Moriwaki. Any no votes? No vote for Senator Owa.
22 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. HB 2513 SD1 passes third reading.
Third reading of House Bill 1800, Senate Draft 1, relating to the state budget.
Is there any discussion? Senator De La Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support of House Bill 1800 SD1.
Please proceed.
Mr. President, I'd like to begin by thanking you, Senate leadership, the Senate Subject Matter Committee chairs, and the Committee on Ways and Means. Mahalo for your leadership and assisting the Ways and Means Committee in crafting a package of bills that reflect the priorities of this body. Taken together, the budget bill and other pieces of legislation, which are critical, appropriates the resources requested by the administration for Maui wildfire survivors and recovery efforts, while addressing long-standing challenges that have persisted for decades, including diversifying exports and opportunities for workforce development to ensure economic resilience in the face of uncertainty, funding shortfalls for service providers that fill gaps in the continuum of care for at-promise communities, and protecting and preserving Hawaii's unique ecosystems to perpetuate the integrity of our land. This session, the constantly changing landscape of federal support for Maui wildfire recovery required diligence and dedication to provide both the immediate and future needs of Maui wildfire survivors. I thank each of my colleagues for spending many hours discussing and collaborating with cabinet members and other stakeholders to fully grasp the gravity of the situation. We dedicated funding for Maui in separate bills outside of the budget bill, also up for third reading today. This was done to increase public transparency and government accountability in how these funds are spent. House Bill 679 covers Governor's Message 4 by appropriating $362 million in fiscal year 24 for wildfire-related costs such as non-congregate sheltering and $65 million for the One Ohana Fund. House Bill 2610 reflects the administration's original request for response recovery efforts by appropriating over $450 million in fiscal year 25. Senate Bills 582 and 3068 are also crossed over earlier this session and contain similar language. We look forward to continuing working with the administration to overcome this catastrophe. Your Committee on Ways and Means has the tremendous responsibility of budgeting for the entire state. Response and recovery efforts are profound, but the promise and potential of our people is unsurpassed. I am proud to present a solution-oriented budget that amplifies the assets and values of the place we call home. The proposed budget aims to ensure that our keiki have access to high-wage jobs by expanding the Hele Imua internship program to recruit and retain a skilled workforce for state government, earmarking workforce development opportunities for regenerative tourism to increase the number of local executives in hospitality and ensure sustainability and destination management, and enhancing the healthcare pathway programs for neighbor islands to foster medical professionals for our small and rural communities. We remain resolute in our commitment to reverse the brain drain and provide a future for our families to live, work, learn, and play in our own communities. Your Committee on Ways and Means finds it imperative to reduce recidivism and disrupt pathways to poverty and prison. The prosperity of our state begins with the holistic health and well-being of our people. Funds for cost of living adjustments for contracts that provide safety net services like homeless outreach, mental health programs, and emergency medical services. funds for employment opportunities for inmates that ease their reintegration into society and help keep our highways safe, and funds for the Hawaii State Hospital and the DOE's multi-tiered system of support to ensure a continuum of care for most of our vulnerable communities. Altogether, these appropriations reaffirm our standing as a trauma-informed state. Your Committee on Ways and Means understands the importance of protecting our precious resources and supporting local farmers. Without controlling and eradicating invasive species, our agricultural, tourism, and natural ecosystems could collapse beyond repair. That's why we made historic appropriations both within and outside the budget bill. Your Committee on Ways and Means inserted dedicated funding for biosecurity in House Bill 2619 to equip the Department of Agriculture to proactively mitigate the spread of invasive species at our points of entry and to combat a wide variety of pests that threaten the state's biosecurity, including coconut rhinoceros beetle, little fire ant, and coqui frog. In the Senate draft of the budget, we include appropriations to tackle the current climate and environmental crisis that jeopardize our food systems, including funding to repair and maintain parks statewide, protect native forests to help mitigate the impacts of climate change, and institutionalize pathways for local farmers to deliver Hawaii-grown produce and commodities to all, including low-income families, and for local entrepreneurs to scale up and export their value-added products to markets in Hawaii and across the globe. There are many noteworthy priorities that are addressed in the Senate's budget, but with our limited time, I'll end with sharing a few more critical budget appropriations. The remaining adjustments can be found in the budget worksheets. Funding for long overdue technology modernization projects for various departments and agencies, which improves efficiencies for state government and enhances services for the general public. The Senate draft includes technology modernization projects for DCCA, DAGS, DOE, DOA, DOTAX, DHS, and DHERD. With increasing operating costs and growing demands for state-funded programs and services, the Senate's approach strategically budgeted to draw down federal dollars with state matching funds, to facilitate public-private partnerships and encourage select programs to expand entrepreneurial and commercial activities, and finally, to utilize special and revolving funds to promote financial sustainability. Additionally, we deployed several cost-saving strategies to maximize government efficiencies and reduce government spending. For example, department vacancies were reduced to offset new positions. Lease rent funds were appropriated on non-recurring basis to better align with telework policies and reduce lease office spaces. And utility funds, including for electricity, were appropriated on a non-recurring basis to help reach our renewable energy goals. Mr. President, I would like to request that the budget PowerPoint presented to the Senate also be entered into the journal.
So ordered.
In conclusion, mahalo to Senate subject matter chairs for their countless hours spent meeting with departments and asking critical questions on hundreds of budget requests. The Ways and Means Committee members for their bold leadership in developing a solution-oriented budget, and the Vice Chair and her team for crafting the CIP budget. And lastly, thank you to the Ways and Means budget staff for their unwavering dedication and perseverance in putting together the Senate draft of the budget. I'd like to introduce Committee Clerk Scott Fuji, Budget Chief Colin Peros, Budget Analyst Parker Spencer, Alexander Ozawa, Carol Ann Nakario, Sean Herman, and Kathy Sokugawa, CIP Specialist Malcolm Iwami, and Office Manager Dot Fujinaga. I urge my colleagues to support Senate Draft House Bill 1800. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion, Senator Moriwaki.
Thank you, Mr. President. I echo Ways and Means Chair Dela Cruz in thanking you, Senate leadership and colleagues, and the Ways and Means Committee. I especially want to thank Chair Dela Cruz and our hardworking committee staff that you met for their support in designing this capital improvement budget. The CIP budget is this body's expression of our values and commitment to Hawaii's future. Beyond the Maui response and recovery efforts, the CIP budget reflects this body's statewide priorities: health and safety, education, economic and workforce development, infrastructure, and affordable housing. You will see it in the budget, but some highlights are the health of our community being foremost. Went to neighbor island hospitals, critical biosafety lab repairs and improvements. It also includes safety and security considerations outside siren warning systems and deferred maintenance of assets that cannot be deferred yet another year. A significant portion of the budget invests in our public schools, over $570 million to renovate and improve classrooms and buildings, to ensure campus safety, and to upgrade athletic fields and playgrounds, and $73 million for the University of Hawaii Community College, Medical School, and university research improvements. The budget also recognizes the importance of diversifying Hawaii's economy through investments in technology, healthcare, tourism, and agriculture, specifically regarding agriculture, value-added processing, and storage spaces to support farmers to bring their products to market. And included is over $30 million to modernize our state's financial system. We cannot grow our economy and maintain and develop a thriving workforce without a major infusion of affordable housing, a large infusion of $180 million for rental housing revolving fund, $45 million for teacher housing statewide, and an additional $63 million for renovations to the University of Hawaii student housing facilities. Overall, our team focused on our state's critical infrastructure, health and safety needs, our economic growth, and investing in a strong foundation for our future. This fiscally responsible budget represents the hard work of many, and I again thank my colleagues, Ways and Means Chair Dela Cruz and his staff, and my staff. I'm going to reintroduce CIP staff, Malcolm Iwami, who does double time, Randall Tanaka, Charles Uzumoto, and Venus de los Santos. Please rise and be recognized. Mahalo nui. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Further discussion? If not, before calling the vote, I would express my thanks to Chair Dela Cruz, Vice Chair Morawaki, the Ways and Means Committee, and staff for your diligent work. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't also acknowledge the administrative employees who worked closely with Chair Dela Cruz so that we could get the numbers that we needed, especially in trying to determine what was going to be needed and the best way forward to assist those who were affected by the fires in Maui. And I know that the budget is so large and there are so many things that we could talk about for hours, but I did want to acknowledge to Chair Dela Cruz that he did pay attention to make sure that the summer feeding program as well for the children of Hawaii would be funded and in place. And I think that's critically important as we try to support in education to make sure that when they're there, they are well fed to get the best results. Do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
23 ayes.
Thank you. HB 1800 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 3420, third reading of House Bill 1911, Senate Draft 2, relating to the judiciary.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
23 ayes.
Thank you. HB 1911 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 3421, third reading of House Bill 2610, Senate Draft 2, relating to disaster relief.
Is there any discussion? Senator McKelvey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to, if I may, address this in the next bill in the same comments.
Please proceed.
I just want to stand in strong support of these bills. I'm very thankful for the Chair of Ways and Means and the Ways and Means Committee for advancing these breakout bills to allow greater clarity and accountability in the monies that are going to this area so the people in Lahaina know what is coming and what is being spent and how it's being sent, and make sure there's enough. So I greatly thank you for the work that the Ways and Means Committee done in these bills and the other measures. So thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
23 ayes.
Thank you. HB 2610 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 3422, third reading of House Bill 679, Senate Draft 2, relating to state funds.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
23 ayes.
Thank you. HB 679 SD2 passes third reading.
Third reading of House Bill 1950, relating to Kimchi Day.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No vote for Senator Awa.
22 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. HB 1950 passes third reading.
Third reading of House Bill 1541, relating to Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
23 ayes.
Thank you. HB 1541 passes third reading.
Referrals and re-referrals.
Referrals and re-referrals are made in accordance with the supplemental orders of the day that may be filed later today.
No further business, Mr. President.
Are there any announcements today? Senator De La Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to request a waiver of the public notice requirement pursuant to Senate Rule 21 to schedule decision-making meetings on House Bill 2690 SD1, House Bill 2626 SD1, House Bill 2653 SD1, House Bill 2790 SD1, House Bill 2685 SD1, and House Bill 1595 SD1. Your Committee on Ways and Means is requesting this waiver in order to meet the second decking deadline.
The waiver is granted. Senator De La Cruz.
Thank you. Your Committee on Ways and Means and Judiciary will hold a decision-making meeting on House Bill 2690 SD1 tomorrow at 10:15 a.m. in Conference Room 211, and your Committee on Ways and Means will be holding a decision-making meeting on the rest of the measures tomorrow at 10:20 in Conference Room 211. The notices have been filed in the Clerk's office.
Thank you. Are there any further announcements? If not, the Chair has one. The deadline for filing standing committee reports on House bills for second reading is 6 p.m. tonight. Senator Wakai.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate stand adjourned until 11:30 a.m. tomorrow.
Senator Kanuha.
I second the motion.
Thank you. It has been moved and seconded. If there are no objections from the members, the Senate will stand adjourned until 11:30 a.m. tomorrow.